in a moment out of time, a moment of pure ecstasy at the very end of the poem, theologically termed a beatitude. Dante, the mystic poet, is graced with a cosmic vision. The entire poem may be understood as a faint reflection of what he experienced in that moment, what he was able to bring back and set out for us in linear form. O light, Dante prays, O light exalted beyond mortal thought, grant that in memory I see again but one small part of how you then appeared, and grant my tongue sufficient power that it may leave behind a single spark of glory for the people yet to come. We are those people, and so I want to begin with a deep bow to Dante Alighieri, this intrepid and gifted explorer, for setting out his great vision for us so arrestingly. It is the archetypal task of the true hero to return home after one's adventure with treasure to be shared by everyone. Il nostro sommo poeta, our supreme poet. This is how he is known in Italy, where even after all these hundreds of years, he is still beloved of the people. Groundbreakingly, you see, Dante wrote in the vulgar tongue, in the vernacular, the everyday language of the people, and from it he created poetry and story that found its way direct into their hearts. Originally called simply La Commedia, meaning the story with a happy ending, as opposed to the tragedia, the poem was later christened La Divina by Dante's contemporary Giovanni Boccaccio. Begun in 1308 and completed the year before his death in 1320, the Commedia is all about love and love's dark shadow, with all its numerous delights and complexities, its projections, inversions and inflations, its agonies and ecstasies. Popular and down to earth, to the very pits of hell, in fact, yet utterly sublime as well. It is a story that has sustained the passage of time and embedded itself into the psyche of the Western world. It has even woven itself into the canon of Christian belief. It is universally regarded as the greatest poem of the Middle Ages. 32,000 words long, 100 canti or verses, divided into 3 canticles, each composed of 33 canti, except the first that has 34. Each canticle has 9 levels, with an additional incorporeal realm. The poetry of the Commedia is most highly regarded, and within the Paradiso is held to be quite sublime. Yet sadly, the rhyming scheme, the terza rima, introduced by Dante, is essentially untranslatable, and its rhythms, rhymes, and skillful plays with the language are lost. It's always good, therefore, to hear at least some phrases as they were intended, for even if one doesn't understand them, one can hear some of this lost beauty. Written in the first person, the poem tells the story of Dante's journey through the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso, starting poetically the day before Good Friday through to the following Wednesday of the year 1300, reflecting the journey of Christ into the underworld, the harrowing of hell, and his resurrection, but also the universal and archetypal journey of the soul into the darkest realms of the psyche in quest of freedom and spiritual illumination. It follows in the footsteps of Homer's Odyssey and Virgil's Aeneid, and in the autobiographical style of St. Augustine's Confessions. Theologically, it has roots in the writings of Thomas Aquinas, but Dante, some say, was also versed in certain esoteric and mystical traditions, which perhaps we see reflected in the numerology and sacred geometry of his cosmology. One could spend a lifetime peering into this mystery, as many have done, and still glimpse but a fraction of its meaning. So how then might one begin to present even an overview in so short a time as prescribed here? This is the challenge for anyone proposing to speak of Dante's creation. In Canto 22 and 27 of Paradiso, as Dante approaches the wonder of his final beatitude at the end of his long journey, the Lady Beatrice bids him pause, turn, and look back over the terrain thus travelled. And straight away he sees how small and inconsequential the earth is within the great order of things. Not at all the centre around which all else was believed then to revolve, but rather a tiny, fragile globe within the greater orbit of a divine cosmology. "You are very close now to your destination," she says to him. "You will see the final blessedness. So work now to keep your vision clear. Look back now at the distance we have travelled. We have crossed the universe. Look back now, and soon you will know much joy." And Dante looked back, and he saw all the spheres that he and Beatrice had visited, and he saw the earth, which looked so small and paltry that he smiled. And then he turned and looked into the eyes of Beatrice, and the deeper into heaven they went, the more beautiful did his lady become. And the angel sang Gloria in excelsis Deo as they moved and merged into the light. This realization, this radical shift of perspective, facilitated by his beloved, creates an epiphany for Dante, and may do so for us too. And just like that, we can be lifted out of the linear track we seem to be travelling, from beginning to end, so to speak, into the realization, or rather the remembrance of the fact that the journey is all the other way around, not just for Dante, but for all us souls residing here temporarily upon the earth. The end is where we come from and where we will return. The story in between is our own personal divine comedy.